Good day to all, welcome to Extreme Recap. Toward the beginning of the film, we see a couple being sought after by a nearby group of hoodlums drove by the famous Chong. They advance into the forest and choose to conceal themselves behind the trees. Notwithstanding, their endeavors ended up being pointless as the hoodlums confined them without any problem. Consequently, the three gangsters brutally assault and kill the couple. We meet Yard and Bua, a married couple who live in a rural village, in the following scene. They are profoundly infatuated and have promised to wed each other when the opportunity arrives. Notwithstanding, their relationship faces resistance from Yard's family since Boa is a quiet young lady. Her family foundation is additionally convoluted as her dad deserted them for another lady. In any case, Yard stays unflinching by these conditions and is unfaltering in his longing to wed Bua on a specific day. Yard and Bua are by the river, hunting for crabs for dinner and returning home with a full bucket. Unexpectedly, a group of local troublemakers throw a stone at Beulah and flee. This makes the honest young lady drain, so Yard rapidly her back home. Once there, Bua's mom keeps an eye on her injuries and requests that she rest for quite a while. After this, she participates in a confidential discussion with Yard about his relationship with Bua. She encourages him to quit seeing Bua, saying that he merits a superior life partner and better in misfortune. In any case, Yard solidly declares that he dismisses the assessments of the townspeople and that his affection for Bua outperforms any remaining contemplations. Yard and Bua continue their relationship despite all of these objections from families and villagers. They hang out a lot in exercises like fishing, preparing and sharing feasts. Chong and two of his sidekicks likewise live inside a similar town. They appear to have no work to do and thus, they continue meandering carelessly around the town, exposing the locals to torture and provocation. They supported themselves by taking from the dedicated inhabitants. The pioneer, Chong, has a spouse who habitually chides him for his unreliable way of behaving, yet he gives little consideration to it. One day as Yard and Boa return in the wake of getting some fish, they are intercepted by Chong and his men. The criminals grab the pail loaded up with fish, and Shang starts to pester Bua. Yard endeavors to shield her, yet the men effectively overwhelm him. Luckily, Chang's better half shows up at the last possible second and separates the fight. Sometime thereafter, Yard's father, not surprisingly, begs Yard to migrate to Bangkok and get a new line of work there. He accepts that it is the main way that they can bring in some cash. Notwithstanding, Yard declines, saying he favors the serenity of the town over the tumultuous city life. The next morning, a bantam hooligan takes a lot of bananas. Stew this with an indifferent expression. A bantam hooligan takes a lot of bananas from a store before quickly baking his getaway. Unintentionally, Bua passes by a similar shop while conveying bananas in her grasp. Accordingly, the retailer wrongly accepts that she's the cheat and subjects her to impolite abuses. Being quiet, unfortunate Boa can't defend herself and starts crying sometime thereafter. Why Promotion's mom visits to Bua's mother and advises all her Boo away from her child since she won't ever acknowledge a quiet young lady as her future girl in regulation. Hearing their discussion from a good ways, who is left debilitated. After this, she advances toward the fields and starts crying. She can't comprehend the reason why the whole town can't stand her. Before long, Yard moves toward her and embraces her firmly, encouraging that he won't ever walk out on her. Additionally, he reassures her that they will soon wed. The couple continues to the waterway for fishing as All busies himself with changing a fishing net. Boa was kidnapped by Chong and his crew when they arrived at the scene covertly. They hare away to the forest where Chang powerfully endeavors to strip her. Boo boldly attempts to retaliate, yet her opposition just outcomes in additional viciousness caused upon her. Yard learns about his girlfriend's disappearance in the meantime. Furthermore, after looking through the environmental factors, finds her neglected shoe. This causes him to understand the Boo is at serious risk. So he runs into the forest and starts calling out to her. Soon after, he recognizes the criminals severely attacking Boa, provoking him to participate in a savage fight against them. Tragically, Yard is of no match and he is effectively overwhelmed and taken out. Following this, Chong subdues the poor girl before brutally killing the couple. The criminals then cover Yard and Boa in an undisclosed area inside the forest. I was not anticipating that the story should Chong so suddenly that evening. Boo, his mom restlessly hangs tight for her little girl to get back. Be that as it may, when the night passes with practically no indication of her, she chooses to visit Yard's family, trusting they might have data. Sadly, she finds that Yacht has likewise not appeared. Later, the parents of the two children set out to find their missing children. At the point when they arrived at the fields, they coincidentally find the assets abandoned by Yacht and Boa, further escalating their concerns. Before long, they get data from a resident who illuminates them that Shang and his group were chasing after the couple the earlier day. With this information, the Guardians defy Shang at his place. Be that as it may, true to form, the famous pack pioneer undermines them and sends them away, thinking of themselves as confused. The lamenting Guardians choose to report their youngsters as absent at the nearby police headquarters, in any event, communicating their doubt towards Chang's pack. In any case, the police demand substantial proof prior to engaging any doubts. Besides, the head official conjectures that the couple might have decided to pass on for greater urban communities to begin another coexistence. Cops simply going to make poop up like that. In the following scene, we are acquainted with an individual from Chang's pack need. He is meandering alone in the forest, troubled by culpability and unfit to get away from the heaviness of their grievous activities. Not long after, Shang and another gangster named Fat methodology him, inquiring as to whether he is okay. Dark admits that he is feeling like poo nowadays, and even suggests that they surrender. Hearing this, an infuriated Chong draws out his firearm and focuses it at Lek. He says that if the police find out about their actions, he will shoot him. Following this, the threesome heads profound into the forest for a hunting undertaking as they attempt to discover a few creatures. Shockingly, they are spooky by Float's soul. The gangsters are forced to flee the forest as soon as possible as a result of this. That very evening, they are seen getting a charge out of for certain young ladies, enjoying beverages and opiates amidst their exercises, similar to Pardons himself to pee. As he starts the cycle, he suddenly sees a young lady wearing white, lying on the ground. Needed gradually moves toward her and turns her over, just to find that it is Boa. This frightens him, so he rapidly withdraws to his companions. In the wake of wrapping up their get-together, the hoodlums return to their separate houses, just to be tormented by tormenting dreams of Boa. Need specific goes to his bed, however keeps on seeing Float's otherworldly structure apparently very nearly going after him. This terrible difficulty denies him of sleep. Over the course of the night toward the beginning of the day, Lec trusts in Fat, sharing the unpleasant encounters he has persevered. Amazingly, took care of uncovers that he has additionally experienced comparative dreams, as recommends that they withdraw from the town and look for work in bigger urban areas. He likewise calls attention to that they will be ill-fated assuming the locals look into their deeds. Be that as it may, took care of Desire's common sense reasoning, saying it will be outside the realm of possibilities for individuals like them to secure positions. Unfortunate folks. After that, the three of them are seen hunting once more in the forest. This time Lek's dreams of Boa escalate, convincing him to escape for his life. While taking off, he is unexpectedly struck on the head hard with a wooden branch, bringing about his passing. Later that evening, Fed also succumbs to an unrelenting nightmare that prevents him from sleeping. Looking for comfort, he withdraws to the rest space to clean up, just to be spooky by the soul of Yard. Expecting that he will likewise wind up dead, took care of visits a close-by sanctuary early the exceptionally next morning and offers supplications for his conservation. After this, he meets with Chong and sets out to admit their wrongdoing to the residents. Yet, the posse chief ends up being irate and hits Fat directly upside the head, telling him to stay quiet when the last option actually continues to demand. Chong thumps him violently. That evening, Chong perseveres through a chilling dream in which he is bound to his bed. Tortured by the phantoms of Yard and Boa, who approach him menacingly with a hatchet. The next day is taken care of as fishing at a close-by stream, he is surprised by an eerie sound. He looks around, but he doesn't see anyone. Unexpectedly, a sprinkle in the water frightens him further. Fat attempts to flee in terror. However, he is forcefully submerged in water after being caught by someone behind him. The lamentable passings of Lec and Fat fills Cheng's dad with concern. So he encourages Channing to admit his terrible deeds, cautioning him of a comparative destiny. However, Chong refuses to admit any wrongdoing out of fear that he will be imprisoned if he fails to do so. Unbeknownst to Chong, the vindictive spirits of Yad and Boa are surrounding him during the evening. When Chong hears a noise coming from the kitchen, he is sleeping next to his wife. Frightened, he wakes his significant other, inquiring as to whether she heard the sound as well. However, she returns to her bed after berating him for disrupting her sleep. Before long, Chong hears similar sounds again, ingraining a feeling of fear inside him. He gets up to turn on the lights, just to find that the cylinder light is breaking down. Grasped by dread of the dim, he endeavors to light a flame. Yet, it strangely smothers itself. All of a sudden, the soul of Boo emerges before him, frightening the life out of him. Accordingly, Chong quickly dreams a blade and over wounds the spooky figure. In any case, he before long understands that he has cut his own better half, bringing about her demise. Chong can't really accept that what he has done and begins sobbing hysterically, correct? Then an unidentified figure shows up behind him and strikes him oblivious. Inevitably, Chong recaptures his faculties and thinks of himself as limited. To his wonder, Yacht and Boa show up before them, both apparently alive. Here, the fact of the matter is at long last uncovered soon after the criminals had covered the couple. The downpour poured, making them recapture their cognizance from their dormant state. Then, at that point, notwithstanding their wounds, they some way or another figured out how to liberate themselves from the stifling mud supporting each other. They watched out for their injuries and took cover in the timberland for a few days. Gradually, they recovered, filled by an unfaltering assurance to look for retribution for the malevolent deeds committed against them. Accepting that it will take evil to obliterate fiendishness, they started to torment their victimizers to the most horrendously terrible degree conceivable and afterward killed them in a steady progression. Similar to Boa's previous plea, Sheng begs for his life upon hearing their revelation. But now that the situation is in their favor, they ignore his request and kill him, bringing their vengeance to an end. If it's not too much trouble, let me know there's a post-credit. About the banana bantam hoodlum. Turn on notifications, please subscribe for more videos like this, and like the channel to support it. Thank you very much for watching.